Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what else.
You don't remember what else?
No.
There you
No,
go.
because I didn't even know it was a thing.
Murphy getting a bite.
Yeah, I should have done something. Excuse you. Okay.
You gonna be a distraction, Murph?
Right, that was not part of the deal, by the way. I told you stay under that blankie. Mm-hmm. She's like, no, I want ice cream. Okay, so... What are we talking about?
We're gonna talk about criticism versus creative.
That's right.
The differences between the two. Which... I feel like that's what this episode is going to be about, so that's what this episode is going to be titled.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I've already started recording.
Oh, we're on.
Yeah,
Hello.
so I already started recording. I think that's how we're going to be doing it from now on, just because it will catch it, where we're not worried about the recording too much.
Yeah, I'll be more natural, I think.
Yeah.
Next time, don't tell me we're recording now.
Yeah, no, I won't.
Then it's like, oh. hello, people.
Yeah, but I just want to let you know for this second episode, or I guess this is episode 1, that this is how it's gonna go. We're not gonna do any fancy intros or anything like that until maybe later.
We should have just called this In Media Res.
Yeah.
It's our podcast.
That would have been funny. I think there's probably already a podcast in there.
Well,
It wouldn't surprise me.
We could do plot pilled in media res.
In media res. Yeah, that'd be something.
That's what. Sorry, I'm eating Dairy Queen. It's like the I don't know, I don't know. You're the video gamer. But the video games where you have
what does that have to do with video games?
The titles.
I have no idea what you're talking
you have,
about.
like, blah blah colon the whatever, and
Oh, yeah.
that's like a big video game thing, right?
Sure, yeah. I mean, there's also a hyphen usually. It's not only a colon.
Oh, okay. Well, this one would be a colon.
Maybe a tilde every once in a while.
the little wavy
yeah,
dash.
yeah, that's the tilde.
Yeah, the little wavy dash. This is kind of what this is about.
Yeah.
Roughly. Sorta.
So, I guess first of all, let's start out by talking about 28 years later, because we did go see it. I think a couple days after we recorded the 0 episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what were your thoughts on it, especially now that it's you had it sit for about a week.
My brain requires at least a week processing time. No, I loved that movie. I thought it was so... I mean, the first 2 were really good.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was different, but it's, 3 decades later almost, so it should be different. It should not be... It shouldn't feel too close to the first 2, but it was so good. The characters were amazing. I was not instantly, but like, it did not take me long at all to care about the main character and to be like, please don't die, please don't die, please don't die. And not many movies can make me sink down in my seat and like pull my sweatshirt up by my face because I'm just so anxious about whether or not bad crap's about to happen.
Yeah.
But that movie got, especially if, like, for those who have seen it, you're gonna know the part where they're hauling ass.
Yeah.
Through water.
Yeah, and there's something behind them.
And the visuals of that were amazing.
Really good. Really good.
Oh my god, it was so good. The whole movie was just...
I think...
It was art, too. It was, it wasn't just a movie, it was art, and it was gorgeous.
Yeah. The cinematography of it, especially, was amazing. And it did one of my favorite parts about the movie was the visual storytelling of it, which is, like, you'll see things and you don't get a clear answer onto what do those things mean. Like, nobody fully explains, like, and exposits, oh, this is what this means, this is what this stands for, blah, blah, blah. It's instead, we're going to show it to you, and we're going to trust you, the audience, to pick up on what that is. and I really enjoyed that. I also like that this was 100% a character centric movie.
Mm-hmm.
It all focused on the main character,
On Spike.
on Spike, and it was his journey. And that was what made up the plot.
Mm-hmm.
Was his wants, his needs, and his survival in this world that basically ran everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is one of my favorite ways to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
Is just like, there's not a big end of the world, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's more just like, this is personal stakes and this is what I want to protect.
Mm-hmm. No, it was a coming of age story.
Yeah.
Built into the 28 days, weeks, years later.
28 series,
franchise.
I think is what they usually...
Is that what they call it?
Yeah, I think it's usually called the 28 franchise or 28 series. Yeah, it was a coming of age story, which is great because we didn't really see that in the previous two movies. But it's still, and this is the one that I think the second movie kind of falters on, though you can argue that it's still in there. But the commentary on rage and anger and what it does to people, even the non-infected people, how it is infectious. Like, anger is it is infectious. It's just, once someone else feels it, it kind of rubs off on another person, and that person ends up becoming, angry themselves, ends up kind of feeding off of that emotion and becoming much like that.
My dog. How did you do that? Okay.
There you go.
I had to fix her little donut collar for anyone wondering. She
Yeah.
had it clear up by her ears. She just had surgery, so she's here with us again.
Yeah. And yeah, like because that's probably one of my favorite parts about the entire first movie, is Jim's just unfiltered, just like soul-eating anger, not only at himself for, like, he kind of blames himself, and this is again a great thing because it's never outright said. It's never outright stated, but you can read it in how Cillian Murphy plays the character. He's angry at himself for something that he was completely out of control, and that was him getting into the coma. Because he feels like if that didn't happen, he could have maybe saved his parents. Like, and so it's like this deep emotion in this character the whole movie, and you get the same thing with Spike in this movie. Now, you can say that maybe you felt the same way about Doyle in the second movie, like the anger towards his country and towards his military for what they were doing, but it wasn't as pronounced, and I feel like that's where the 28 weeks later sort of dropped the ball. It didn't quite explore that the intricacies of rage and the intricacies of anger and hatred and vitriol like these two do. It's still there, it's just, it's not quite as pronounced as it should be. And also the kids towards their father in that movie too. About the big lie, if anyone's not seen the movie that came out in 2011, the big lie that happens in that movie, no, that was my headphones.
Okay.
Like, that could have been explored more. But, I mean, I guess with the mom in that movie, it was kind of explored a little bit, but...
Well, I think my favorite thing about 28 years later is that it even goes into how rage and anger can sometimes be a positive thing.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the 28 Days did that, too.
It does, but this one has one scene in particular where it's really, really prevalent, and you're like, huh.
Yeah.
And it's where trying not to spoil things. It's the I'm gonna mime something, the
oh yeah,
that part
yeah,
where it's what made you and I think that there was something that connected characters from the second movie and a certain character from the third movie.
Which, I mean, granted, it turns out not to be that way, but you can see where we kind of thought.
That was my guess.
And it might have been a little bit of a reference towards that, like for people who watched. That's what you would think, right? Mm-hmm. For people who've watched 28 Weeks Later, which I know that's the one that people have watched the least. People have seen the first movie. People don't really care about the second movie. I like the second movie, but I understand it has definitely flaws. It's definitely the least greatest one out of the trilogy now. But I think that was like done intentionally in some ways, where maybe she even was like that, but wasn't quite. Like there was something else, you know, which could be very interesting. Maybe that's how she survived so long, you know, like that could be a question, like an answer that you could have towards that, and it's fascinating. The acting in this movie was superb on literally everybody. There's not a single bad actor in this movie. The kid who played Spike, only 14 years old, I believe. 14, yeah. When he needs, in my opinion, an Oscar for this movie. It's one of the best performances, especially from someone his age, that I've ever seen. And I've seen some pretty good child actors before, but this kid really takes it to the next level of how much just complexity he portrays in a 12-year-old kid. And the great thing is that, yeah, like, nobody talks down to him. No one, and I like that because that's unfortunately a common theme in, these types of stories, especially post-apocalyptic stories, is that they always seem to kind of talk down to kids, kid characters, child characters,
right,
in these stories, because, you know, oh, you're a kid, you don't know anything. We need the adults to be able to survive against the horrors of this post-apocalyptic world. And this movie completely says no. You don't, actually. A kid is well off and good enough and smart and should be smart enough in this world to survive on their own, and I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I agree.
We gonna have a problem?
I don't know. Can you lie down? Come on. Lie down. You can edit this part if you like.
Yeah, I will.
Murphy, lie down.
Murphy, lay down.
Come on, sweetheart.
Come on.
Lie down. Come on. I'm not finishing my blizzard right now. No, I'm going to get a tummy ache. Ice cream hurts my tummy, but it's July 4th, so I wanted some ice cream. Yes. Now lie down. Come on, lie down.
Down, Murphy.
Okay, lie down. Come on, lie down. Lie down, and I will figure the blanket. Would you quit headbutting everything? There. Good. There. Is that better? Okay, can you go sleep now? Take a nap, alright? Okay. I agree. I like how this one wasn't so much about the apocalypse as it was about the stuff that's left after this major apocalyptic event. And how, as a much smaller society, you probably, would have to survive. But it also goes back to, if you go watch, what is it? is it 1892? I know you haven't seen it, but it's one of the precursors to Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called I think it's 1892 because it's set in 1892. And it's about this family, and the youngest one is maybe, I don't know, maybe about this kid's age, 13, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like Horizon. If you go watch Horizon, it's like the kids are, they're very much a part of society. They're not quite so sheltered. It's especially the boys, like in Horizon, it's, you have to be kind of ready to protect and fight and defend and do whatever you have to do to keep everybody else safe. And so that was a big part of this, at least the beginning of this one, which I thought was cool.
Yeah. I also like the big twist with the hunting idea.
Yeah, because that's not... I guess
that's not typical.
We're getting into a little bit of spoilers.
Yeah.
I guess you can warn, right?
Yeah.
Spoilers?
Spoilers.
Maybe from here on out.
Yeah. If you don't want to know, just skip ahead until we're done talking about it. But yeah, like the idea that the hunting trip that his dad takes him on is not actually to go get food. It's to go make him used to killing these infected.
Yep.
Like making it where he does not flinch when he kills them.
Right.
And like his dad, he's been doing this for his whole life, so he takes this kind of sick joy out of it, as a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense. At some point, yeah, you would start looking at it like trophy hunting, instead of, or like game hunting instead of, like, oh god, I'm killing another human being.
Right.
Because if you don't kill them, they're gonna kill you.
Right.
So like you have to, and eventually, yeah, like us as humans, we adapt to cope with that, and some of the ways that we do cope with that sort of situation is finding the humor in it. And I like that a lot. It's a very realistic take on that sort of survival. And I don't see very many things do that. Like, what, Walking Dead ran for how many years, and they were still traumatized whenever they had to kill a fucking zombie, and I'm like, bro, you've been doing this for like 10 years. Can, like, we move on? Like, at this point, you should be used to it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't even faze you. And the whole thing about that is like, well, that's bad, right? And Walking Dead. In this one, it's like, well, it's not really bad. It's just how they survive. It's how they don't go crazy.
Right. But yeah, it's not really good or bad necessarily. It's just how
it's just human nature. Yeah.
If you live in England or Scotland, or I'm assuming Ireland was part of it too, probably.
I don't know if Ireland was. I think it was just mainly England and Scotland.
I can't remember. It shows the map.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning. But yeah. It's not really. It's not funny enough. That part isn't really moralized in any sense. What does get you kind of looking at the rest of the, I don't know, normal humans, I guess, the rest of his village.
Yeah.
In a different way is that whole celebration after he gets back, and like you want him to get out of there.
Yeah.
It's like leave, please get out of this I don't even know what to call it, almost satanic. Or like, I don't know, devotional worship ritual. It's not that, but it's definitely portrayed as being dark and a little crazed and
sort of Lord of the Flies-esque.
We're gonna go see it again, and I'm excited to go see it again because I really want to pay more attention to those particular scenes and I also love though how in the beginning it was very overlapped with like visions of war from other pieces of media, I guess. Some of it even seemed like documentaries, like it was filmed. It was actual soldiers. Like marching, in an actual fight. Right.
Yeah.
and then some of it was other movies and whatever. But it was.
I'm pretty sure I saw Braveheart there.
Yeah, with all the arrows.
Yeah, with all the arrows. Yeah, and it just kind of shows like, I do actually like, and this is one thing. This is a huge theme that I found throughout the entire movie, and that's the differences of masculinity portrayed, and like how masculinity is actually a positive thing because it keeps people safe. And I do like that a lot, and I think that was almost the point of that whole moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. It's because that's what the men of this village are doing. They're the ones that go out and kill. And it's kind of a duty of the men to do that. And it was kind of a little bit of a positive take on masculinity, which we don't see very often nowadays. Which I appreciated that personally.
Even though the village leader appeared to be a matriarch.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. It was,
yeah.
I don't know. It was refreshing because there really wasn't a hard political bent.
No. I mean, none of these movies.
Direction. No, none of them have it. And I'm glad that they stuck with that. Like, they didn't either, in either direction, either cave into the pressures to go, to lean left, or cave into the kind of, the I don't know, the pressure from the other side to intentionally lean away from left. Not even necessarily lean right, but just to lean away from all of that stuff. And it didn't do that. It just stayed true to what it was always going to be, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciated that.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
That was really nice. Also, going back to how you said, they showed the map. Did you notice? I think I noticed this, but I know that in some, extra interviews and stuff, this was stated. France apparently just got completely glassed in the 28 series. Because if you remember, spoilers for the second movie, at the very end when they go through the tunnel and the infected start showing up in Paris, you see them next to the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
Apparently, somewhere between that movie and this movie, the rest of the nations were like, nope, and they just glassed France.
Oh, jeez.
So...
yeah, I did not notice that. I'm gonna have to look this next time.
But apparently after that, because they mention it in this movie, is that France is the one that are... the French are the ones that are actually patrolling the island, and...
Or at least they're part of the patrol.
Yeah, they're part of the patrol. So it seems like they maintained power, despite their country completely going out. Or maybe they just glassed Paris and that was it, and they walled it off.
Yeah, maybe.
You don't know, but it's such... I love... Because this is one of the things that I love about this series, is that you actually get a full-on timeline of what things happened, and you actually get an answer of how it started. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. If you make a fucking zombie story and you give no explanation on where the hell the zombies came from, I instantly don't care.
No, they just appear.
Because that was my biggest problem with Walking Dead. Oh, it just happened.
Right.
Why?
We don't know why. It's no one knows why.
And then in the comic books, spoiler for the comic books, it just ends. They stop infecting people. And so they just kill off the rest of the zombies in the book, or the walkers in the book, and then it's a very small portion of humanity left. And people have theorized, it was part of the rapture or whatever, the biblical rapture.
Oh,
and they were just living through it, which is cool, but a little bit more I don't know, symbolic imagery that could maybe make us think that in the show at least.
Right.
Would have been nice. I feel like the comics are better than the show. I've never read the comics, but...
No, me either.
I've heard that they're better than the show. So...
That's what I've heard too. I know, our sister-in-law is big into Walking Dead. I got impatient with the show just because I tend to get impatient with things when I realize that there's not really a direction that we're going in. They're just kind of doing things, and then
floating.
And then they come along and they find this settlement of people, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna fit in right here," and then and then that goes to shit, and they have to run, and then they find another one, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna stay here," and then that goes to shit, and they have to run, and it was just, I don't know, it got repetitive for me, but that's, you know, that's just my personal tastes. I'm not, it was a very character-focused show, I will give it that. But
yeah.
I don't know, I don't know. And I know I said, like, I love character-focused shows, and I do, and sometimes I don't mind when I don't know where they're going. Mm-hmm. But this one was, like, 7 or 8 seasons deep, and I was like, all right.
We need some direction.
Well, we need a direction, and, like, I've seen these characters, I know them. It's kind of getting to the point now where they're not giving me anything new either.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this is kind of another example, right? You look at Walking Dead, and then you look at 28 series. And it's another example of the differences in storytelling between even just Britain and here. Mm-hmm. How differently we tell our stories. Because in Walking Dead, yeah, it is very character-centric, but a lot of it relies on, I want to say, pointless drama. Yeah. In some ways. Oh, he's cheating on me. Oh, she's sleeping with him. Oh, I'm having a baby suddenly. Oh, no, like... It's drama that doesn't relate to the apocalypse at hand. Now, in 28 years later, there is that, but it's a very short scene, and it's actually just a character motivation for our main character to leave. Right. And I like that. Right. And again, it was still maintaining within the themes of rage and anger. Mm-hmm. So, like, that I didn't have a problem with, because it fit.
Right.
But when, like, when you make your whole show, about a zombie show, and it turns into who's gonna fall in love with who, and what relationship problems are they gonna face in the next episode, I don't care at that point. Because, like, I'm not here to watch that.
Yeah. No, the way you're describing it makes it sound like a soap opera for zombie
lovers.
I mean,
it kind of was. Like, if you watch Walking Dead, it kind of was.
No, I mean... No, I don't totally disagree. I mean, when I was young, I used to watch soap operas with my mom. Yeah, I know the formulas. Mm-hmm. I couldn't watch them now, but I was like, you know, I was in early, I don't know, I was in my teens.
You were in your 20s when you...
Oh, early mid-20s, and then I finally got tired of them.
Yeah.
But I started it in my teens just because my mom watched them, so I was like, well, it's something I can do with my mom, so I watched them. Mm-hmm. But there's definitely a pattern with those, which Walking Dead does kind of follow, if you know anything about soap operas.
Yeah, I recently tried to watch, there was, because I was like, oh yeah, because we, you used to watch One Life to Live, and, no, not One Life to Live, wait.
Yeah, it was One Life to Live
and General Hospital. I think I'm thinking of General Hospital, because that's the one with Franco, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Franco... I was like, oh yeah, I remember that character. I remember Jordan really liking him. So I was gonna go, I watched scenes with him in it. There was a scene of him and, I think Luke is the character's name, talking.
I don't know.
Luke is like, he's got like snow white hair and snow white beard and stuff.
Probably
he's
then, yeah.
a Quartermain, I think. But he's...
No,
he's not a Quartermain. I don't know.
Don't get lost in the details.
But anyway, he's talking to Franco... And the whole conversation takes, like, 30 minutes. Like, I'm talking, like, a full, like, 30 minutes. And I'm like, dude. And they just keep talking circles around each other. And I'm like, how does anyone watch this shit? Well, I don't understand how anyone watched it. Because even when you had that dispersed within other scenes throughout the entire, like, episode, right? Because it would cut back to other scenes. It would go like, they would cut back to a different scene, and they're like, okay, whatever. And then they get back to the conversation between those two, and then they're like at square one, basically repeating the same things that they said already.
Well, I feel like that had to be a compilation from because they were on for an hour block.
Yeah.
Which means with commercials, it's usually about 40 minutes. There's no way that they took up 30 minutes of screen time on one conversation, but it was probably about 15.
Yeah.
If they're in the same room and, like, yapping at each other.
Yeah.
That happens. But anyway, move away from soap operas. No one wants to hear about soap operas.
Anyway, yeah. I hate soap operas. I think they're the worst. I think, in my opinion, they are up there with reality TV as being the slop of any writing I've ever seen.
Just, okay, personal disclaimer here, though. Do not put any stock in anything I liked in my late teens and early 20s, okay? I was a weird child. and young adult, apparently. Yeah, no, I mean, they're I'm not gonna lie, they're pretty awful, but you know, there's a market for them. A lot of people like them, just like a lot of people like cheesy, horny romance novels. And that's not my thing either, but there's a huge market for it, and so it's like...
No, that's just my opinion.
If you like soap operas, you go watch them.
Fucking hate soap operas. I hated them as soon as, like, whenever you guys watched them. Even when I was little, I was like, oh my god, this is the most boring thing I think I could ever imagine watching. So I can never watch them, like, because they just bored me. But
get off the soap operas.
No, like, but yeah, 28 years later, I think it's a great movie. Go see it.
Yes, we're gonna go see it again.
I mean, honestly, we only spoiled a very little chunk of it, so like,
yeah,
we basically only spoiled the first part.
I will give you my favorite line in the whole movie, though. It's, I'll fucking go.
Yeah, I'll fucking go.
I'll fucking go.
Yeah, that is a great line.
It's just hilarious.
In the context that it is in as well.
The way they tie the beginning into the very end is fucking hilarious.
It's fantastic.
And I love it, and it was brilliant. I was like, thank you for doing that. That made my day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to go see it again. At least one more time, maybe twice.
And you should go see it. Whoever's
highly recommend.
Listening to this, go see it, because it's great.
I'm sure we could find something to complain about, but I'm just gonna... Yeah, right now, I'd give it
Honestly, I can't think of anything.
I'd give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, same.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, I honestly can't think of anything that I can complain about with that movie. It's really good.
Speaking of complaining...
Yeah, speaking of complaining...
Where are you going to transition?
So, as you can see from the title, this episode is about criticism, or critics versus creatives. Basically, what makes a good critic, what makes a good creative, and does being a good critic make you a good creative, or does being a good creative make you a good critic?
Well, and the one question that we've talked about before, because we heard someone else say it, is that you have to be a good critic before you can be a good creative.
Yeah.
And I posit that is absolute bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's almost the reverse. I think you have to be a good creative before you can be a good critic. You have to understand what goes into creating something before you can really drill into the quality of it, why it's good, why it may not be so good. You have to understand what you're criticizing, and the amount of work that goes into it. Right, and that's different. And I think maybe state this outright too, and just for the sake of clarity, when we say critics, we're talking about people who really try to go and critique the craft of something. If you're just reviewing something and giving your viewpoints on it, and whether you liked it, what you liked, what you didn't like, whatever. Yeah. That's a review. That's different. Yeah. But if you're calling yourself a critic, you better know how that thing was made and what goes into making it. But just from a personal standpoint too, I think that being a critic is detrimental to being a creative. I think it puts you inside your own head. It puts you in editor mode too. Yeah. To speak in writer terms, it puts you in editor mode from the very beginning, and then you can't be creative when you're in editor mode, because if you're in editor mode, you're in analytical fix-it mode, and that's the complete opposite of creative mode. Yeah. So. Yeah, no, I don't think that you can be, I don't think you can be, a creative, I don't think you can be a real critic, especially when it comes to the mechanical side of writing and, even acting or singing, without knowing how to do those things yourself. Singing's a great example. Singing, I have heard so many people talk about how this person's a bad singer, and then I hear their singing, and I'm like, well, clearly you don't know what the hell you're talking about, because, no, you... So, okay,
just to put into full context, Jordan and I took voice lessons for several years. Many, many years. I took them longer than she did.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been on musical theater. I've done musical theater. I've done singing. I've been in choirs before. And so I know how to sing. And so when people, like, criticize singing and be like, he can't hit a note, I'm like, and I look at the person trying to sing, and I can tell that they're actually using the correct techniques, they're doing everything that's needed, and, in my opinion, they sound good. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? They can't sing.
Right.
Like, at that point, I was kind of like, okay, you sing right now. Sing. Because I want to hear what you sound like when you're singing. And then I'll tell you, from someone with years of experience, whether or not you're doing a shit job. Because most likely, I'll tell you right now, most likely you're doing a shit job because you're not seeing the mechanics that go into singing that this person is clearly using.
Yeah.
And a great example for this is Russell Crowe. I will never, ever, ever understand why people shit on this man so much for his singing. He is not a bad singer. I don't know where this came from, who started this, but stop it. It's not reality, okay? Like, is he the greatest? Is he fucking opera level? No. Right. But he clearly understands the mechanics of singing, and he clearly can carry a tune.
Like technically, he's a decent singer. He's okay.
Technically, yeah.
He's fine.
He's great. Like, just because you subjectively don't like him as an actor or don't like his singing doesn't make him a bad singer. Like, that's not what that means. like it doesn't make him objectively bad. You just subjectively don't like him.
Right.
And it's just, another one is Hugh Jackman, too, which I hear he always gets shit on, too.
How does he
I don't know.
Singing is amazing.
I don't know. But he always gets shit on, too, for his singing.
But singing is such a good example, and, like, it illustrates this so well, because you can listen to someone sing, and if you yourself don't know how to sing, you can be like, I don't really like that, but you can't say why, because you don't know what they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
But for anyone who's taken voice lessons from a competent voice coach, next time you hear someone and you're like, oh, that was off, it's because their diaphragm, they're not supporting themselves with their diaphragm, they're not breathing correctly, they're letting all their breath out and losing all their air, and then they sound all squeaky at the, there's so many things that you could be doing wrong, and as someone who's taken voice lessons, you can tell what they're doing wrong. It's the same, in my opinion, with any form of art, anything.
Yeah.
It's the same with writing, it's the same with visual art, anything. Like, you can say whether you like something or not, and you don't have to have a background in it. That's fine, that's a personal perspective. But you can't go in and tell people why something is off, unless you understand how it works.
Exactly, yeah. It's kind of the same with acting as well. Like, it's just, you need to understand what all goes into acting. And
it's more than just studying up on acting too.
Yeah.
I think you have to do the thing to fully understand it.
Yeah.
Like, you could have explained to me how singing works, and I still wouldn't have been able to pinpoint, that's what that person's doing wrong.
Yeah.
But because I had actually done it, I could pinpoint it. It's like, I think you need to actually create the thing first.
Yeah.
Before you can ever critique it. And another good example of this is my creative writing program in college, which was a complete and total waste of money and time. It was fun, don't get me wrong. I don't really regret it, except for the debt. But it was fun. But in terms of, especially the writing classes themselves and doing the class-wide workshops, those were useless. No one could tell me why my thing wasn't working, or why it was working, or what was good, what was bad about it. All it was just subjective feedback. I liked this. I like this. That doesn't help me as a writer. Like, if you're going to be a critic, you need to tell me not only what's wrong with it, but how you can fix it, too. Like, I think that's the other half of it. You have to be able to look at something that's not great and be like, but there's a good foundation here. This is how you fix it. Here you go.
Yeah.
Or here are some ways. Here are some options. Whatever. However you want to approach that. And And again, though, it was because it was coming from a bunch of people who had written things, but they hadn't actually produced a finished, like, manuscript, whatever, a finished book, a finished novel, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
They hadn't produced that finished product yet.
Yeah.
And so they still didn't fully understand.
Mm-hmm.
They were learning just like I was. And so getting feedback from someone who's also learning is not always the most helpful because they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, my Dairy Queen's trying to come back up.
Yeah, no. So, like, when people, especially recently on YouTube...
we won't name names.
We won't name... we won't name names.
Unless you want to. I'm for it.
But when people come on to YouTube and they start critiquing things and just bitching about every little thing in a movie that they personally don't like and then qualifying that as a bad movie, I kind of get a little bit pissed off because you, like, they do this all while sitting around and not doing anything themselves. And they never create, they never go through a writing process. All they do is they write their scripts for their videos, and that's it. Which, that is not really a creative process of writing a script for a video. It is just writing a script for a video.
It's like, organizing your thoughts.
Yeah, it's organizing your thoughts and then maybe throwing a joke or two in there, right?
I mean, there's probably a level of creativity to it, but it's not the same.
It's not the same, no. No. And same with, like, being like, oh, well, I can make this better, right? By rewriting a scene in this specific movie. And being like, yeah, that's way better. It's like, okay, well, what would that look like on screen, though? And I think that's one of these things that these people never really fully take into account is, okay, well, what would that kind of writing look like on the page? What would that kind of writing look like on screen to a general audience? Because I think a lot of these people don't really realize, and this is kind of going into the division, right? Is that normal fucking people that, like, they're going to work and having a 9-to-5 job, they don't care about the culture war, or like, oh, this is woke, or that's neo-Nazi fascism, like, or whatever.
Right.
Like, that no one cares really, except for the people online yelling and screaming at each other about it. And so when you make a movie that is like, we're gonna go 100% anti-woke on this movie, and nothing in it is, and we're gonna actually be the opposite, you end up getting people who come to watch it and they're like, well, that was shit, because all it was just either incompetently made or, like, just preaching, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing goes with the other side of, like, oh, we're gonna make this 100% woke. Again, it makes it preachy. No general audiences really want to see that. What they want to see is well-written stories, well-written characters, and a good plot. And these critics online don't know what it takes to make that.
No.
Not really.
No. Well, yeah, no, well, and I don't, they don't take into account either how much easier it is to edit and to tweak and to fix something that's already been created. It's like, that's a completely different process, different experience. Like, it takes a different skill set, but it's a lot easier because you have stuff to work with. There's things that you can, that you can mess with. That's why fan fiction is so popular, because it gives people that outlet without the really hard stuff that comes from creating something from scratch. And so,
except if you were like me when I wrote fan fiction, and all I did was I just picked a world, but then put a whole bunch of OCs in it, and so I got my own characters, so I didn't really have to abide by pre-made characters.
Right, or canon or
anything like that.
Yeah, see, and I was the opposite. I always played with existing characters because I liked being able to really delve into them. But it's so much easier, for instance, to have I don't know, what was that, 6-part Star Wars review?
Yeah, 6-part Star Wars analysis that is like 13 hours long.
Right. Part of it, right, with part of it is here's how I would have done it.
He rewrites an entire scene.
That's fine.
That's fine.
But it's so much easier to do that with something that's already there in front of your face, with all the elements you need, and all you have to do is shift them around. That's easy.
Yeah.
Easier.
Yeah.
Than creating something from scratch. And I think when you don't create things first, and you jump straight into criticism, I don't think you realize what a gap there is.
Yeah.
Between those two things, between creating from scratch or editing something that's already there.
Yeah, and so, like, the prime example of this is one of these critics. He decided to make a full-on Kickstarter.
Which we watched today.
We watched it today. So it's fresh in our minds.
Well, and we aren't just talking about this based on what other people said either. This is...
Yeah.
No, we watched it. We watched all 40 minutes of it.
Yeah. And first of all, my man got this Kickstarter, got, like, way above his goal to make this movie, to make this short film that was only supposed to be 15 minutes long. And when he got that money, for some reason, I have no idea why he did this, instead of trying to refine that 15 minutes and make the most of it and make it perfect, make it high quality, he decided to stretch it out to 42 minutes, and cheapen it.
Yeah.
And it was like, why? That was, when I heard that the first time, I was like, wait, what? You mean to tell me you got above your goal on a Kickstarter, and instead of, like, making good with the time that you had, you thought it was a better idea to spend more money
and to add things
to the storyline.
So you had to rewrite the script apparently bajillion times.
Why would you do that?
I don't know.
Like, unless you were getting so far up your own ass that you thought you were the hottest shit because you got all this money from a Kickstarter, and you were like, well, now I'm super confident, and I'm gonna go and make an even longer thing with more characters and more depth and more complexity. No! Has this person never heard of KISS?
Right.
Keep it simple, stupid? Like, that's there for a reason.
Or less is more.
Yeah, or less is more. Because, like, that's there for a reason. I'm pretty sure, 28, especially 28 Days Later, kind of throwing it back to that was made on a very, kind of shoestring budget. It wasn't very expensive to make that film. But it also wasn't a very long film. It's only, I believe, an hour and 30 long. But they make use of that time. Those guys didn't go, oh, well, we have more than enough money. Let's stretch it out to 2.5 hours. No! Let's add an entire cannibal tribe that, like, eats people. Like, no, you don't need to do that because it's pointless.
Right.
So, like, that was, first of all, the biggest flaw with this short film that he made, was the length. It felt super bloated and
which is hilarious, because it was bloated, but it was also, like, I have none of the information that I need, really, to understand what's going on for the first 10 minutes. Like, I have no idea what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Or why. Or what anybody's motivations are. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And this, like I said, I even said while we were watching it, I was like, why didn't he just take a page from, what is it, Sonic...
Legends? Shadow Generations. It's the Shadow Generations trailer.
Right. Yeah. It's the long. It's like what 8, 9.
It's like 10 minutes long. Yeah.
And it's brilliant. Even if you don't know anything about the characters, really, you get everything you need to know about Shadow. You get a little mini story.
Yep.
You understand his relationship with Rouge. You understand his relationship with the army dude, and I can't remember his name. And you understand his motivations, and you understand why he's about to go do what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's perfect. I freaking love that little short, well, I guess it's a long trailer, short film.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a short animation.
But I also love the Sonic franchise.
Yeah.
But it's so good. And he had such an opportunity to take that money and to maybe make a 20-minute film that was really, really solid. Dude, it's called hiring professional editors, too. I mean, script editors. I mean, people who can look at something and be like, bro, this is shit. Fix this.
Well,
right here, this is crap. Fix it. And, like, but even, you know...
Well, the trouble starts, right, when he's like... when his wording was, there's 3 types of movies that you can make, or whatever. Or, like, throughout the thing, like, throughout the process, there's 3 movies. The movie
you mean his response to criticism?
Yeah. But, like, he says, the movie you want to make, the movie you're allowed to make, and the movie that you're forced to make. And for his movie he wants to make, he says, it is... the movie you want to make is that first draft that is perfect and has everything. I'm like, oh my god, this man has never seen an editor in his life.
No.
This man has never seen an editor in his life.
There's no such thing as a perfect first draft.
No.
That's why it's called a first draft.
Have you never heard from Randy Feltface? The first draft of anything is shit?
And
like, that is...
It's supposed to be.
Yeah. There we go. I got it.
We lost the mic.
We lost the mic for a bit.
For a second. We're good.
My foot cut the cord. And... Anyway, no, like, yeah, the first draft of anything is shit.
It's supposed to be. That's you getting all your...
I think that was T.S. Eliot that also said that, I believe.
A lot of writers have said that in the past. Because it's true. You don't... If you're trying to create something perfect on the first go... This goes back to what I said earlier about you being in editor mode and being in fix-it mode. And it's like, well, if you're writing something that you think is perfect on the first go, you're a conceited fuck.
Yeah.
And it's nothing personal, really, because I don't know the guy personally, but just... You've gotta have your head.
If the accusations are true, though, it's pretty funny.
Right, like, if the signs are there, I'm just gonna kind of call it. You're conceited as shit.
Yeah.
If you think that you created something perfect on your first go, that's not how that works.
It's not how that goes.
But then even, like, then the movie you're allowed to make and then the movie you're forced to make, and it's like, well, that didn't sound like it was a lot of fun. Why are you going to continue to do it?
Yeah.
If it was like that, if it was that miserable, if you hated the process, basically, which is what that sounds like,
well,
just hated the outcome.
It sounds like, because I don't know if that's necessarily true for everybody. Because, like I feel like in some cases, you're a skilled enough writer that you do get to make the movie that you want to make. Like, I don't feel like you're always, like, I feel like if you're skilled and competent enough, and you know what the fuck you're doing, like, yeah, you are going to be able to make the movie that you want to make. The problem is, he had no idea what the hell he was doing.
No, and he didn't know what kind of movie he wanted to make. Let's be real, not really.
No, not really.
Not really. But I mean, that's another thing, too. It's like, yes, I understand the movie industry has an insane number of regulations slapped on it.
For good reason.
Right, well, sometimes.
For sometimes,
like,
but
stupid.
A lot of it is for safety reasons, and, like...
Right, but a lot of it is very... constricting, and it is hard, especially on a tiny little budget. That tiny little budget would have gone a lot farther with 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and not 40 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You idiot. But crap, I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that?
The movie has movie industry has a lot of constrictions, but
but if you go take almost any writing class, thank you. This is my ADHD brain. One of the coolest writing exercises you can do is to put a bunch of restrictions on yourself and then write under those restrictions. Like, what did we do in college? There was one where you couldn't use a certain letter. So you had to spell, like, you had to choose words that did not have that letter in it. You had to write a story that started with a 1-letter word, 2-letter word, 3-letter word. Like, and kind of go 4-letter word, and then it didn't get crazy, so you didn't have to go like 9-letter words.
Yeah.
But it would go to that, and then you'd have to start all over, and then 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Anyway, just because actually creativity does love restriction.
Oh, yeah.
It loves. That's the whole point of creative. I mean, that's what being creative is.
Yeah.
You're finding a way to do this thing around all of these obstacles in your way. Like, that's sometimes when you're at your most creative. Especially, this was, especially in writing.
Yeah.
That's why world building and coming up with rules for things is such a good thing to do, because then you have to figure out, and sticking to those rules.
Yeah.
Because then you have to figure out how your story works within the bounds of the world that you've created, instead of breaking things all the time and being like, oh, well, I'm gonna have this little girl that gets punched in the face by this burly Russian dude.
Like 5 times.
Right, 5 or 6 times. But not only does she not have a bloody nose, she's not even knocked out cold. No, she gets back up and smacks him with a
baton.
Yeah. And then she slashes him with a knife. And it's just like, okay.
Well, yeah, because, here's the thing. We might not like rules all the time. They're a pain in the ass. And, nobody truly likes rules. But they're there for a reason. Because if you don't have rules to the creativity, you end up with a big giant stew of just mixed up bullshit that makes no sense, has no cohesion, and has no frame around it. Well, that's the problem with some of these people who want to write. I feel like a lot of these people who want to write don't understand that frame has to be there.
I'm talking about the YouTube critics for the most
part,
too. Who are trying to turn writers now.
Yeah. There has to be a framework there. If you don't have that framework, if you don't have those rules, if you don't have, anything there to kind of be like, whoa, slow down, take a step back and realize why this works, then it's gonna turn into a complete mess. Because it's gonna be almost incomprehensible. You don't I have no idea what I'm watching at that point.
Right.
It becomes almost abstract, and it's in how it's written, because it's well, that makes no sense.
Right. But I mean, even outside of that, because what he was talking about in his response to the criticism was the rules around actual movie, filmmaking. He talked about, if you want to have 2 actors having a fight scene in a shallow pool of water, you have to have a lifeguard, and you have to have the water tested, and you have to have all these things.
Paramedic,
So you can't have it in a pool of water, fine. Do you have any idea how many filmmakers throughout the decades have run into those same regulations and been like, okay, well, what can we do instead? Oh, here's kind of a cool creative workaround.
Yeah.
Or, hey, let's go do this instead. And this might be really cool, and then it ends up being probably better than their original vision. It's called flexibility.
Yeah.
and creativity. It's you find your way around it. You had the opportunity to do something really cool. And and again, well, I don't know. I can't say that. I was gonna say that the bones were there, but I don't know if that might be being generous. I don't know. Well, I'm not a huge spy thriller person, though.
No,
it's
but
not my favorite genre either. So
here's the thing. So he made this movie, this short film, based off of his book series that he's also written, which, from everything I've heard, at least the first one is not very good. So
I applaud him for finishing stuff, though.
Yes.
There's at least that.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't do that.
Oh yeah. I'll give him that. But, the thing is, if you're going to make something based off of a book series that you've written, don't expect people to know, to have read the book series, to understand anything that's going on.
Especially an indie-published book.
Yeah.
Or a self-published book. It might have even just been self-published, not even indie press. Yeah, don't... I mean, unless you're only making the film for the readers...
But you should make that clear in the Kickstarter that you make.
You probably should.
You should...
Otherwise people might throw money into it, and they're like, oh crap, I haven't read any of these books. I have no idea who any of these characters are.
Or what any of the motivations or dynamics are or
right.
history.
Backstories, yeah, nothing. I don't know anything, and I'm lost. And the only reason I kind of caught on, maybe starting 10 minutes in, I mean, I knew who people were, but I still didn't know what the hell was going on. But the only reason I did is because we listened to the one review of one of his books, and so I was like, okay, that's that person. Like, I could kind of follow along. It was fine.
That's the guy with the cocaine addiction or whatever, the
right.
crack. Or no, he was, God damn it. Heroin. He would have had a heroin addiction in the book. That's right.
Yeah. And that's girl boss number 1, and that's girl boss number 2.
Yeah.
Which, coming from this particular creator, is hilarious.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think his fatal flaw, though, is that if you're gonna make something based off your books, too, you should probably also go take a look at the criticism that has been leveled at those books.
Yeah.
And try to address it in the film.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do that because he gets defensive and he thinks that what he created was perfection. And therefore, if you don't like it, it's because you hate him personally or you're just wrong.
Yeah, he legitimately says that in his response, is that, he's like, he said something along the lines of like, well, I know that most of my fans were most likely going to defend it, but the dissenters, the people who don't like it, are most likely people who just hate me personally and just want to see me fail.
Yeah.
And to those people, I say, go create something your own. And I was like, oh my god, he did not just fucking say that. He did not just say, oh, well, go create... Like, bro,
and he said
don't
it unironically.
Yeah, don't even step up to me on that, my guy. Like,
no.
That was such a weaselly little, like, bitch slap that he, like, dirt in the eye that he did.
Yeah.
And it's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, you don't, like, don't sit up here and try to tell us, oh, well, you should go and make your own stuff then. Like, no. Right. Especially since that's what people have been telling you and your ilk for years to go do.
If you don't like it, go make your own thing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so you did, but now people have criticisms and you're going to tell them the exact same thing
instead
of just listening? Like,
well, yeah.
Just listen.
It's hilarious because, yeah, again, like, the directors and stuff that he bitches at, which, by the way, I love the fact that these morons on these critic channels always attack the directors, even though the directors have actually very little to do with a lot of things. They're there to direct the actors and figure out the scene sets and like.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the level of control they have.
Yeah.
Like Peter Jackson had a lot for Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. But I've heard of others where...
Especially in Marvel, that don't...
Or Disney. You go on to direct something for Disney, you do not get much of a say in what you're doing.
The producer gets the say.
The producers tell you what to do.
Yeah, the executive producer is the one that, like, tells you this is how it's gonna be done.
Right, this is the
and you just kind of have to go along with it.
Yeah.
It sucks, but, like, look at Mufasa, which was an awful movie. But the director has done really good stuff. And so people were a little bit shocked that he was the director of that film. But I wasn't, because it's a Disney product. Yeah, and so, of course, that movie was ass compared to his other works. Because he wasn't probably allowed to do anything that he wanted to do with it.
I can't believe any even half-decent directors agree to work with Disney anymore. I wouldn't. I'd be like, no, dude. No. You sit here and control me. If that's... You can get AI to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, based on the level of creative control I have. Which is 0.
Yeah.
Why don't you get yourself a little messenger boy to sit down here and tell everyone what to do. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway.
No, but I think this just circles back to how this guy is not a good creative, in my opinion, because, again, he can't take criticism, even though he dishes it out. He can't take his own medicine at all. And he, like, sits all high and mighty, and he never takes accountability. For anything that went wrong, or anything that he's criticized for, it's always, oh, well, it was someone else's fault. Right. Oh, well, this went wrong.
Right. Or this is this way because of that.
Yeah. it was never, oh, well, maybe my writing was garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I didn't have a clear plan in mind.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was because this actor didn't read the line right. Which that was so...
That was
so
one of the
fucked up.
shittiest things I've seen in my... Like, you're gonna throw the actress under the bus?
Yeah.
You hired her. If she couldn't hit the lines, fire her and get someone who can.
And the fact that in his response video, he kept cutting back to her for, like, subtle digs towards her.
He did.
And it was like...
He was being a douche. He probably came on to her and she was like, nah.
Yeah, probably.
And I don't know.
But, like...
That's pure speculation.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me.
I wouldn't be shocked, honestly.
No. But this also comes along, and I'm gonna drop some names here.
Go. Everyone knows. I mean, well, not everyone. I feel like we should put a disclaimer in, though. Almost every person that we're going to talk about, we were once fans of.
Yeah.
We watched and listened to their stuff. I thought they had interesting takes until I realized what they were doing, and it was like...
They're grifters.
You're just a grifter.
Yeah, they're grifters.
You have found the formula. You have found the things to say to get the attention that you need, to get the views that you need, to get the money.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing.
Yeah. That's it.
As is evidenced by the fact that this guy had 2 girl bosses in a 40-minute short film.
Something that he bitches about.
Which, right, like
consistently.
Normally, I don't have a huge problem with, for the most part, but
no,
it depends on how it's done.
I don't care about, like, I'm not a big, because I love fucking Arcane. Arcane is filled with
Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I love Tomb Raider. Like,
Tomb Raider's fantastic.
I love I even like the newer She-Ra series. I know that one got shit on a lot, but I actually really liked it.
No,
It was a cute little kids show.
I really liked She-Ra.
And so, like, and I love anime, like, which is filled with, like, strong female characters. So, like, but this guy, he will consistently go and watch Marvel Swap, which isn't well written to begin with.
No.
But the things that he complains about is not the writing. It's not the quality of, like, the character motivations or anything like that. It's all about the political things. Like, oh, well, this is wrong. I disagree with this politically, therefore it makes it bad. No, you just disagree with it politically and, like, you're just bitching about it. It doesn't make it bad.
It is bad.
It is bad, but not in the same ways that you think it is.
Right.
It's Marvel, and I will say this right now, Marvel is bad because there's no characters that we give a shit about anymore. That's one of the main reasons why Marvel is bad. Marvel is bad because it would be better just to reset it completely from scratch at this point than to let this MCU slowly, a husk of its former self, just wither away. Like, it's bad because it forces comedy into every single thing ever. Which, that started with a very specific movie, and we'll get into that in a later episode, and that movie is shit, but everyone loves it, but yet it's the main reason that Marvel is the way it is right now.
It is. It was the turning point.
But we'll get into that in a different episode. But these people actually love that movie, and it's
Which
like,
makes no sense. It
what the
blows
fuck?
my mind. Yeah. What?
And so...
That's when I knew they didn't know what they were talking about. When they liked that movie, I was like, oh, you guys have no clue what you're talking about.
So, like...
You just bitch about the politics and get you the views you want.
Yeah.
You're in your echo chamber.
This coalesces, and this is where I'm going to start dropping some names. This coalesces in Eric July's comic book series, which I have not read. I've not read Isom. I have not read, I had the name and it's gone. The woman character that he wrote.
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. I have not read any of his Ripperverse comics. None of them. However, from what I could tell, like, he's at least tried to go on his own, right, to write the Isom comics. And then he's hired, like, other actual reputable writers, right, for the other comic books. Like, yeah, this person can write this story. Yelena, I think is her name. But, like, she can write this story, and then this person can write this story. Managing it like a comic book company where you bring in different writers, different artists to come together and write a universe together and kind of cooperate. Well, this time, he decided to make an anthology comic, and it's not out yet. It's called Sinners and Saints. which is an awful title, but which I wouldn't be surprised if this group of numbnuts came up with that title. We're like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. And like I'm actually not I'm not a hater of Eric July. I'm not fucking Dick Masterson who says, oh well, you shouldn't try anything. No, I'm gonna sit up here and I'm gonna defend him like at least he's doing something, right? And it seems to have gotten a pretty good like positive reaction to it. However, when you come to the point of making a comic book series and then like you're like, well, I need to find writers to this. Oh, I know. How about a bunch of my YouTube buddies who have never written a single thing in their lives? Well, one has, but he wrote it terribly and it was panned. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's a good idea. No. So he has Critical Drinker, which is the guy that we've been talking about this whole time. He has Mauler, which, good lord, that one in my head, that is the one I'm kind of looking forward to the most because I guarantee you it's gonna be shit. And then he has Drunk 3PO, which I'm like, who? Like, because even Jordan was like, when I said Drunk 3, but she's like, who? I'm like, he's a very niche, almost kind of nobody. And I know that's rich coming from us. We don't have very many people listening, but like, we're trying to build up something, right? But nobody really knows who Drunk 3PO is. Nobody really knows what he's all about. All I've ever seen him on is like collaborative stuff, and he barely talks. So like, okay. And then he has fucking Az from Heel vs. Babyface. Yeah, the pronoun guy on Fritz Starfield. The guy that he complains about things that he could easily ignore. And so like. And then he has like these two twin sisters that are from Canada, that are writing a story themselves as well. And I know nothing about them. They might be good. I don't know. But it's this again going back to critics versus creatives, and what happens when a critic tries to become a creative. Well, we've seen what happens with Rogue Elements. Not all critics are built to be writers. Either they don't have the patience for it, which has been seen multiple times in how they criticize certain media and how they consume it, because some of them have zero patience whatsoever. Like, what was it? Like Horizon. Like, they all kind of said, oh, it's so slow, it's so boring. Or Andor is another great example. Yeah. Andor is ridiculous because I have never seen a heel turn as quickly as that, where people are like, this is gonna be shit. Andor is gonna be shit, and no one's gonna like it because I'm gonna call it Ann Snore. Good one, Gary. I'm gonna call it Ann Snore because it's so boring. And then when Mahler and the rest of these guys actually start watching the damn thing, they're like, oh, this is actually good. Mm-hmm. Who would have thought it?
Right.
Wow.
It's the one good thing Disney's put out in years.
Really? You actually went and saw a movie, or saw a show, or saw a movie before, like, this is one of my biggest things with these guys. Mm-hmm. They criticize a trailer before it's even coming out. And you guys might be like, well, Dallan, you're doing the same thing with this comic book. No. I'm criticizing the character of people who are writing this comic book, which is they have shown themselves to not be the greatest writers, so I'm not confident that this book is going to be good.
Right. No, because one of them at least does not want to put the work in to be a good writer, because he can't take criticism.
Yeah.
So therefore, if you can't take feedback, you're not willing to work on anything, are you?
Yeah. And so Jordan and I were looking at this like trailer that Eric July put it out, and the art...
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of ripping on it.
The art is not good.
And it's not even...
I don't know what the art is.
I like how this turned into a bash fest. If these guys were like... Just...
Yeah. Well, no, it is inevitable, right? Because these are the kind of guys that we're talking about.
That's true.
And so, like... And again, I know we're kind of focusing on sort of the right-leaning people. There's plenty of left-leaning people that do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
There are Lindsay Ellis is a great example of this. Same with Dan Olsen. Both of those people are great examples of being the extreme other side on the left, where it's like talking about gender and Transformers, and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? But like, there's other things, like, there's people on the other side. We're focusing on these people because they're actually going out and doing their own thing, right? But it's waiting for the shoe to drop on whether or not it's gonna be garbage.
Right.
And, we'll have to wait and see, but my confidence is not high. Just like how my confidence wasn't high for Andor, but hey, I'm always willing to be surprised.
Right.
I'm always willing to be surprised, pleasantly surprised by something.
I'm willing to be wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
I kind of hope I'm wrong. Like,
yeah.
We need more good, well-told stories out there.
Yes.
And I think we need more independent creators out there, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's, I think that's what's going to pull the entertainment culture back.
Yeah.
From the crazies that have taken it over on either side.
Yeah.
But
But, like, these people need to understand being a critic does not make you a good storyteller.
No.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. No.
It doesn't make you a good creative. It doesn't make you, particularly well-suited or well-equipped to take on that challenge of making something all your own.
Mm-hmm. Because it's freaking hard.
It's so hard.
If you're not willing, and I mean, again, this is just evidenced by what Drinker said, which was that perfect first draft.
Yeah.
A really bad imitation of his accent, but
you actually did a really good one earlier.
I know, I got it earlier on the couch. I can't remember what I said though. I said something because I was just repeating something he just said. But but anyway, that perfect first draft. And it's no, dude. You have to take that first draft, which is the ugly little lump of something that you managed to spit out. And it has to go through, and this is why professional writers have editors. It's why you have advanced readers. It's why you normally have a writing group that you send your stuff around to. I bashed on Brandon Sanderson in episode 0, but a lot of people really like him. I liked him for a long time too. I just got bored with what he's doing because his new stuff feels the same as the Mistborn trilogy.
Yeah.
The characters and the plot progressions and the twists and the tropes and everything's just the same. I just got bored with the guy, but that doesn't mean he's a bad writer. It just means he hasn't necessarily evolved at all.
Yeah, he hasn't grown
but
as a writer.
Why would he? He's
yeah,
one of the most,
he's making,
if not the most...
He's making bank.
Yeah, he might be behind, like, George R.R. Martin, who I cannot stand. But I think he's a shit storyteller. I have no idea why Game of Thrones is as popular as it is.
Yeah.
The dude doesn't know how to finish. Clearly, he doesn't know how to finish.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a euphemism for something else in his life.
I mean, I think the main appeal that people had with Ice and Fire is how complex it was.
Well, and it was different. It was a gritty, dark fantasy when you weren't getting a lot of gritty, dark fantasy. And there's a lot of power behind novelty.
Yeah.
I will give it that. But anyway, even Brandon Sanderson has a writer's group that he sends his stuff around to. He has... you send out advanced reader copies. You send out copies for this express purpose of getting feedback.
Yeah.
And then he takes that feedback and he's like, oh, everyone's telling me that they were bored during this section. Well, why is that? And he has to go and he has to figure out why that was. And it's like, oh, it's because of this thing. Okay, so I have to go back and rewrite this whole freaking chunk of the story because it's not working with what I have later. You have to do that. You can't just spit something out and it's perfect. And all of that just comes down to, a complete inability to take feedback and then to go and implement that feedback and to grow from it and to become a better creative because of it. Like, that is a huge part of what makes a good creative.
Yeah.
And at least one of the people, Critical Drinker, who's involved in this anthology thing, has proven unwilling on more than one occasion to take any kind of feedback. The guy just gets defensive, and then he blame shifts like crazy. Like,
yeah.
nobody's business.
Yeah. And then just knowing the personality of Az from just everything that I've seen and everything that I've watched of him, he doesn't seem to be the type to take criticism either. And I've seen Mahler. I watched EFAP religiously for a while, and eventually it got to the point where I was like, man, he doesn't actually take pushback very well at all.
He does not. That's why Rags is there.
Yeah, that's why Rags is there. Like,
he's literally Mahler's guard dog.
Yeah, he's literally his little attack dog. Yeah. But like, that's the problem with these guys, is that they are grifters. Not only that, but they also can't take what they dish out.
No,
they just can't. They're incapable of doing it. Either they'll get into Twitter fights, or they'll call someone out in chat and laugh at them because, oh, you're so wrong. Right? No, maybe they're bringing up a different aspect, or they'll bring them on debates that's just dogpiling.
Yeah, it's just an ambush.
Yeah, it's just an ambush. Why would you you're not going to change anyone's mind. And that's a whole other topic of how internet debates are pointless, because literally every single internet debate that I've ever walked away from, that I've watched, no one gets their mind changed ever. So
it's just people shit-slinging at each other.
Yeah.
Away,
it's like the whole point of a debate is to make someone see a different angle on something.
Right. Even if that person still doesn't end up agreeing with you, if you can at least understand where you're coming from, that's a pretty good debate. But no one knows how to do that anymore. No. And no one's willing to listen like that anymore. Like, it goes both ways, too. It's not just the person trying to convince someone else. It's also the person that's just so rigid. Like, I am not listening to you because blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. People are just so... so many ways right now. Our society is so effed.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, none of them are capable of taking feedback and criticism. No. And in my opinion, if you can't do that, you can't be a good writer or a good creative of anything.
No.
And this goes back to what I was talking about with my college classes. We did the workshops, and were they particularly helpful? No. But it did give me a chance to hear everybody's feedback and criticism.
Yeah.
And that's also another thing, too, is not every piece of criticism and feedback is going to be something that you want to take and implement. Some of it's going to be stuff that you're going to disregard and be like, okay, well, that's because that's not your taste.
Yeah.
And so this story probably isn't for you.
Yeah.
But technically and artistically and craft-wise, there's not actually anything wrong that you're pointing out. You're just pointing out something you don't like.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you have to listen to everybody and implement everything everyone ever tells you, but an openness to hearing that feedback, and especially when it's coming from more than one person is telling you, hey, dude, this didn't work, this was boring, or this felt bloated, or this was all over the place, and it's not just coming from one person, and it's not even just coming from your quote-unquote haters, because you're so damn important. It's coming from people who, for the most part, forget you exist until you come do something like this.
Yeah.
But used to listen to you, and we're sitting here telling you, no, this isn't working, and you still don't want to listen. I'm sorry, you're never going to be a good writer if that's how you are.
No.
Sorry.
No.
Never.
Yeah. And so I feel like, what's the solution for them? What is the solution for these people who all they do is critique, all they do is hate and bash on something?
For them specifically?
Yeah, what is what is a good way for a critic to become a good creative?
I think you have to be a good creative first before you can be a critic. I genuinely believe that.
Maybe just realizing that what they do isn't criticism.
Or you just have to have the self-awareness to realize that I'm criticizing something that I don't actually know how to do. Mm-hmm. Take a step back and go try to create that thing with the understanding that it is completely different than you probably thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It's way harder than you thought it was going to be, and it's a totally separate process. You as a creative and you as a critic, those are two different, aspects of your, I don't know, identity, I guess.
Yeah.
You have to be able to separate that. if you're a critic first and then you realize that you want to create something, but you have to go in, okay, now, here's the solution. Some freaking, like, humility.
Yeah.
Will get you a long-ass ways.
Yeah.
Of realizing that, okay, so I've been criticizing these things, like, his correct response, going back to Critical Drinker, the response he should have given was, this was a polarizing film. Some people really enjoyed it. Some people really, really didn't. You know, here's what I learned, though. Creating something from scratch like this is really, really, really freaking hard.
Mm-hmm.
He says that part. What he doesn't say is that, you know, I have a newfound respect for anyone who makes movies, especially anyone who makes good movies.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I don't know how they do it. It's freaking hard.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, so does that kind of negate maybe the last decade of your life where you've been bitching about movies online? Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little.
But is that really such a bad thing?
I mean, yeah, it can be, like, I can see where that can be a little soul-crushing, but I think it's a hard lesson. Yeah, it's a hard lesson that you need to learn.
It depends on your perspective.
Yeah.
You either have the option here to grow,
Yeah.
which I don't think is soul-crushing at all. It should be liberating. It should be like, oh, I have this whole new perspective on all of this now.
Yeah.
Let's go back into movie, maybe, you know, shift to reviewing rather than full-on criticism.
Yeah.
But go back into this with kind of fresh eyes and a new perspective on things.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I'm going to keep trying to get better as a creative. And being a better creative will make me a better critic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's balancing out. You can either go that direction or you can do what he did, which is dig your heels in and refuse to admit that you did anything wrong.
Yeah.
That there
and
was
throw
anything
others
wrong,
under the bus.
right, with your story whatsoever. And that it was clunky because it was you made too much money and so you made it longer, but also you didn't have enough money for the length that you made it.
yeah.
Apparently, those were two problems that existed.
He literally says that in the same video.
Yep, go watch it.
Yeah.
Go watch it. He says both things. Both things are apparently true. And I'm like, no, you dumbass. Make it shorter then.
Because, he says, like, well, we had to stretch it out to 40 minutes because we made so much money. And then later on, he's like, well, it looks, one of the criticisms that we got was that it looks cheap and like a Hallmark movie. Well, yeah, we only had this much budget. Well, there's a solution to that I think you may have completely missed out on. Don't change the length of the movie, dipshit. If you didn't do that, then it wouldn't have looked like. Oh my god, it was so ridiculous.
I think that's the part where I got his accent now.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
well, we had to go down to 35 minutes. Well,
we had to make a 40-minute film.
Yeah, we had to make a 40. Oh my god!
Do it now, but...
Speaking of which, the fucking Dietrich guy with his Austrian accent. We are losing night cover. Where are you, Ryan Drake? Like, oh my god, what the hell is that accent?
Put the cookie down.
Put that cookie down. That was literally what that was.
I don't have cancer.
I don't have cancer.
I don't have a brain.
Shut up. Yeah, no, there's like,
it's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor. Yeah, no, there was so much wrong with that movie, with that short film.
But there was even more wrong with his response to the feedback from it.
Yeah.
The thing is,
if you made a shit film and you acknowledge that you made a shit film, that's okay.
Well,
just just own up to it.
But like I told you too, though, I was like, if it hadn't come from the person that it came from, and if his response hadn't been what it had been, I would have been a lot kinder on that film. Yeah. Because it actually, for an indie film, for a first time, totally amateur, just some dude that threw something together from his own mind, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever watched.
No.
Mufasa was way worse.
Yeah, it's nowhere near Mufasa.
Things. Was it the second Doctor Strange?
Way worse.
The one with all of the freaking characters in it. It's got like, it's got the Fantastic Four, and it's got, what's the one where they like, I don't know, they're jumping through time or something.
That's the second Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah, it's the same freaking movie.
That's one.
That one was shit.
Thor Ragnarok is shit.
Shit. Yes, we said it. Thor Ragnarok.
Yes, Thor Ragnarok
sucks.
is
I would rather go watch
awful.
This stupid, what's it called again?
Rogue Elements
than Thor Ragnarok.
Any day.
I hate that movie.
Any day.
So, like, I would have been kinder on it. But because it came from the guy it did, and because his response to the criticism was to blame shift everywhere, and to claim that, A, it was too long, or no, B, they had to make it longer, B, they had to make it longer, A, they had to make it longer, but B, they didn't have enough money for the length that they made. I was like, okay, well then I'm going to be really, really mean, because you're being a dipshit.
Yeah.
You're being an ass about it.
Yeah.
And you can't take the feedback.
And like, again, like, I think the shittiest thing that he ever did in that entire thing was just blaming the actress for
I can't believe he did that.
For not wanting to read his shitty dialogue. Like, it's...
Or not being able to memorize.
Yeah, not being able to memorize it. Yeah, or to deliver it.
It's like, dude, have you ever listened to someone who's not a Shakespearean actor try to deliver a Shakespearean line? Not that Shakespeare's poorly written, but it's so awkward that if you don't do Shakespeare on the regular, your delivery's going to be trash.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with badly written dialogue. If it's poorly written, not us. There's not a soul alive. You could go hire Cillian Murphy himself to deliver that, and it still wouldn't be great because it would just be an awkward ass line.
Yeah.
He'd probably also tell you to your face, no, this is stupid.
All right, so there was one review that I watched of this movie and of his response. That was like a theory that, like, because he says that the director had to rewrite do hasty re-edits and stuff. I agree with this theory that the actress went to the director and was like, "This is shit. I can't do this. I can't work with this."
Yeah.
And the director's like, "Okay, all right, let me change it." Like, that's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's...
Well, and like as an indie filmmaker too, dude, do not start burning those bridges with the actors.
No.
You are gonna find yourself you're gonna be persona non grata.
Yeah.
In the indie film industry.
Like, imagine being that actress and seeing
I
that...
would shit talk you for the rest of eternity.
Yeah,
but
no.
Don't ever go work for this asshole.
Yeah.
Because if anything goes wrong, he's going to throw you under the bus.
I would never give you a single inch.
No.
Like, ever.
No.
I would freaking consistently be on Twitter, on X, just being like, yeah, like, I'll be retweeting you.
Yep.
And, like, I'd be bullying the fuck out of you. Like, it would be so bad. Like,
if I were an actor in that space, too, I would have seen that and be like, I'm never working for that guy.
Yeah, no.
Nope.
No.
Because he's just going to blame me if people don't like his crap movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just, like, bro.
Well, and I don't know what he expected either, where you have built your audience for years off of shit-talking movies and trashing all over movies. Did you really think you could come deliver something that was really, really, really not good? And everyone was just going to be, yay, drinker, you did it.
Wow.
No, they're gonna note the places where it seems like you're being inconsistent. Mm-hmm. Like girl bosses.
Yep. Which
both of them are.
Yeah.
Sorry,
they are literally everything that you complain about.
Because the one, what's her name? Frost. She should have been knocked out cold the first time that guy punched her in the face. I'm sorry. No girl that size can take a hit from a man that big and not get her ass knocked out cold. It's not happening.
No.
That guy was massive compared
and
to
then
her.
I love his justification for that being, well, he says a line that says he's not trying. As he's saying that, you see the guy trying to push the fucking knife into her throat, and he's like
shitting bricks.
Yeah, he looks like he's really trying, buddy. I don't know what you're talking about, but he looks like he's really freaking trying.
Right. Yeah.
Like, he does, like...
That looked like some serious effort to me.
Yeah, like, I don't... Like, that doesn't work when he's like, you know what the funny thing is? I'm not even trying. And then, like, he's like, like, trying to push it down on her, and apparently struggling.
Right, apparently can't get it.
And, like, again, that's, in my opinion, that's shit writing, because...
It was garbage writing.
Because you shouldn't... There should be... First of all, that should be established with that character right off the bat that he's not trying.
Right.
That shouldn't be just a sudden, like, oh, well, I guess he's not trying.
Right.
Like, you can't just, like, retroactively write that in. What that sounded like was that Will Jordan realized what he was doing while he was writing that fight scene, and he's like, oh, shit, I'm being a bit hypocritical. Let me write a line real quick.
Right.
There we go, fixed.
Instead of just fixing the fight scene to something more realistic, which is you cannot let her get hit by that man. He will knock her ass out.
Yeah.
Maybe not in that first punch.
You could make it a shootout. Make it a shootout instead of a fight, instead of a fist fight.
Okay, so this is right here, though. It's way easier to fix something that's already been created, but make it so that she's running through, like, the maze. I mean, what's his face? What's his face literally said, this place is like a maze. Okay, use that.
Yeah.
A maze of boxes, a maze of, like, plastic sheeting and stuff hanging up everywhere. Like,
have her use her smarts.
Yes, she has to be smart and sneaky and clever. Like, something.
Yeah.
Something more interesting than her getting smacked in the face 6 times by a man who probably outweighs her by 160 pounds.
Yeah. Oh yeah, easily.
Like, dude was big.
And then somehow hitting him in the buttock makes him go, ah!
With her knee while she's on the ground with no leverage.
Makes him sit up and go, ah! And just perfectly for him to be shot in the head.
Yeah. The only way she could have done that is if she got a good kidney shot, but that's not where she hit him.
No, she hit him right on the ass, or like right on like the lower back of his thigh, or like upper back of his thigh. She did not hit him like in the balls. She didn't hit him. And by the way, hitting him in the balls would not make him go like that. It would not make him sit up. It would make him curl into her. Like, that would not...
Well, and just she was on the ground underneath him. She had no leverage.
No, none.
Whatsoever to be able to do. So anyway.
No, yeah. So, yeah. I think the conclusion here is that, like, critics do need to just... These critics, quotation marks, critics, more like, you know, they don't really critique anything. They more complain and grift off of a thing.
Yeah. They review it, but...
Yeah, they need to step back, realize how, like, the way they make their money is a little dishonest.
Clearly.
Yeah. And, like, realize that the things that they're creating takes exponentially more effort than anything that they do currently. Because...
And have some freaking humility when you go to create something.
To tie it back in, you go watch 28 Years Later and look at the amount of effort. Not only in the dialogue and storytelling, but also in the cinematography, in the character, costuming and prop making and makeup. The makeup is insane. The effects, literally every single thing had to be working perfectly. And, like,
do you think they got that in the first draft, too, in the first go?
Yeah, no. Do you think they got that? No. Do you know why it probably took them a long time to make that movie after, like, almost 20 years have passed in real time? Like, of them making that movie? Probably because it went through multiple drafts. And where the writer was like, God damn it, this isn't quite working. It probably even got writer's block in the middle of it. That shit happens. It's part of the process. And these people do not understand that. These people don't understand. They don't get it. And so that is, again, another reason why this podcast was made. Was that Jordan and I saw people doing this sort of thing, and we got tired of it.
Yep.
We got tired of these people rewriting stories or trying to make stories and failing at it, and then not understanding why they failed.
Yeah. Because they won't listen to people. Not because no one's telling them why they failed, but because they won't listen to anybody.
Yeah.
They refuse to listen. They think they're God's gift to writing.
Yep.
And storytelling, and they're not.
No.
Like, I realize that when you have an ego, that's a hard pill to swallow, but if you ever want to be a decent writer, you're gonna have to swallow. That's why everyone wants to be a writer, and it's like, dude, being a writer is rough.
It is.
It's one of the most ego-crushing things you can do.
Oh, yeah.
And that, I mean, most professional writers will tell you this too. Most people, most writers who make their living off their writing will tell you that. Like, it's hard. It's hard on your ego.
It's hard on
your confidence.
On your mental state.
Yeah, it's hard on your mental
like,
health.
It can full on put you into depression. And it sucks because it's completely self-inflicted too. And that's why a lot of people never finish things. It's because they just quit.
Yeah.
It's completely self-inflicted. No one's forcing you to write.
No.
You write because it's a passion and it's something that you deeply want to do.
And you have to be a little batshit.
Oh yeah, you have to be a little crazy.
Writer and to push through it and to get to that point, you've got to be a bit batshit.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Jordan and I are making a series right now, and we've not even really gotten it off the ground. But we're making it, and even right now, we're running into complications. Like, oh man, what does that make sense? Okay, well, maybe try it this way, you know?
Yep.
And,
we're taking our time with it, too. And I'm not rushing that thing.
Yeah, and you have to also realize, not everyone is so lucky. There are people out there who do this by themselves, 100% by themselves.
Well, we have solo projects, both of us. We both have solo projects.
Yeah, but, like, we can always kind of rely on each other to look at it and be like...
That's true.
Right? Some people don't have that.
No. If you don't have that, though, go find a writing group that's really good.
Go find a writing group.
Shop around. Not all writing groups are created equal. No. But go find a writing group. It helps.
Yes. Yeah. Even if it's, like, online or whatever, just, go find it.
Do you think the mic is picking up my dog snoring?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. It is, yeah. If you look at the levels, you can see it. Hold on. Yeah, it's right there.
She's got the donut inflatable collar on and she's sleeping and it makes her snore.
But yeah, no, and that's kind of why we're making this, is so that way we can give maybe a little bit tips, and kind of encouragement towards those who want to write and create.
Yep. But also just a different perspective too. Yeah. Like, you definitely do not try to make anything perfect on your first go. You will hate yourself every step of the way if you try to do that.
Yeah.
But also, if you're someone who, again, like us, has been listening to these critics on either side, because there's plenty on both sides, and I've listened to some on both sides.
Yeah.
But if you're someone who's been listening to them, chances are their voices are kind of in your head when you're creating. You've got to get them out.
Yeah.
You have to get them out of your head. Like, in any critical voice, you have to get it out of your head when you're in the first stages of creation. You can't have critic voice sitting there in the back of your head going, no, that's shit, no, that's shit, no, that's shit. Like, you have to be in that fun, joyous, but also, again, a little bit crazy state. Where you're just creating for the thrill of it.
Yeah.
And then go from there. But, yeah, get these guys out of your head.
Yeah, they're not good for you. They're not good for you at all.
They're not good for the creative industry, period.
No, they really aren't.
They're just not.
No. But
they're doing just as much damage as the people they complain about.
Oh yeah, 100%.
In my opinion.
Yeah. So I think that's the first episode of the Plot Pilled podcast, Critics versus Creatives. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please, if you feel inclined to, like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys enjoyed, please let us know if there's anything we can do better. Any topics that you guys want to see. As well as, we have our email down in the description below if you want to contact us in any way. Maybe you guys want us to check out some writing from you. Like, that's perfectly fine. We'll happily look at some writing from anybody. We'll definitely take a look at it and maybe even talk about it on the podcast if that's okay with you. Because we know that some people like their writing to be private, and that's perfectly fine.
Yep.
So just let us know. And again, we will be doing some gaming stuff on this channel. We didn't get around to recording it last week, but we're going to get around to recording it this weekend. We're going to be doing Yakuza 1, which is going to be the remake, so Yakuza Kiwami. And it's a game series that I am intimately aware of. I fucking love it. It's one of my favorite game series ever made. Not only in gameplay, but also in story. and Jordan has never even set eyes on it before.
I've seen videos, but
you've seen like a couple like, bits and pieces of it. But I'm very excited to share it with her. We also have other games down the line that we want to do. I recently went, because it's a Steam summer sale, so I recently went on a little shopping spree and bought like 4 different games that we can play. And I have other games on my computer as well that we'll definitely take a look at and play as well. Also, in terms of gaming stuff, I'm going to start streaming on my YouTube channel, which is Glitter with an exclamation point, and then on Twitch, which is Glitterix Live. I'm going to be trying to start streaming regularly. I've been so low energy for like the past week and a half that I haven't gotten around to it, and it's just every time that I'm like, oh, I'm tired. But I'm going to try and push myself and really try to start doing that more. And both of those links will be down in the description below. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. And yeah, this is Dallan and Jordan signing off. Bye. Say bye, Jordan.
Later.